Medhi, you have another question?
I have one last question for Yanis. I really wanted to know the answer. Is that have you found a big differences in behavior between shark species, or like there's bad patterns that show up across all of them?
Yeah, so we definitely see differences between species, and there's you can have some species that are very residential and stay in one place, and others that will move over large areas. But what we also see is it's not surprising that you get differences in behavior between species. I think what has been more surprising is that you may get often differences within a species. And so now we've started to realize that we can't just think of white sharks do this, gray reef sharks do this, but rather understand that certain individuals will behave some ways and others will behave in other ways. You have this sort of individual variability. And how much variability you see will also vary by species. So, for example, within reef sharks, you'll definitely see some, but you'll probably see more variability in white sharks. We see a lot of variability. So, like, one white shark does this, another white shark does this, another one does this. So, we can't classify everybody in sort of one sort of general sense or put them lump them in one group just because they're in certain species. So, the species will differ in their behavior between each other, but then even within the species, you may see a lot of differences in how individuals behave.
All right, thank you.
Well, and I also have a question for Yanis. That is, how does I think that this is one of the fields in like marine biology that, or at least in biology science, in biology that really caught my attention. That is the study of predator behavior. I think is one of my favorites now. So, how does predator behavior science help us to build better conservation strategies?
Well, so I mean, predators, and obviously, predators are a pretty broad statement, right? I mean, a little spider is a predator, a great white is a predator, a wolf is a predator. But when we're talking, let's say, about upper level predators or predators towards the top of the food chain, then we might expect those animals to play an important role in their ecosystem. And that means that if those animals are then removed or lost, then you might start to see changes in the ecosystem that happen because these animals are gone. But that really is going to also vary based on the species and their behavior. So again, we tend to generalize and make statements like, if you remove this species, the ecosystem will collapse. That's not really true. I mean, some species are going to have a very strong effect on ecosystems, others may not. And so it's really important that we understand how these animals, that these predators, these large predators, what effects do they have on their ecosystems, and how might their loss cause changes in the structure of the ecosystem. And again, one of the ways we would do that is to study the hunting behavior of these predators. And again, try to see, what are they eating? How are they catching their prey? How much are they eating? That's a really important point. How do they change the behavior of their prey? And these are all the really important questions that will help us understand what is the ecological role these animals play.